We'll go to say next SQL Server always on. Another very important feature here. We have seen that first time Microsoft has introduced always on in 2012 version, 2012 version. So in case of always on here, what is happening? We have seen that like it is mirroring with additional features. It is mirroring with what? Additional features here. Okay. So that's remember mirroring with extra features is always on. Okay. So that's remember like most of the clients here today we are preferring will go with what? Always on instead of database mirroring. That's why same thing. Microsoft has deprecated the features here like mirroring feature in 2016 version. Right? They have deprecated the feature. Now here Microsoft is saying that no need to use mirroring. You go with what? Always on. Yes. We'll see here what are the concepts are there. Yeah. Limitations of existing high availability features we'll see. Already we know log shipping has its own limitations. Like there is no automatic failure. Okay. The same way we need to take tail log backup. As well as mirroring has its own features here. Okay. Mirroring has what? Only one-to-one feature and other yeah, limitations we have seen in the last class. Okay, let's say we'll go with here always on. Here we'll see existing hierarchy features limitations. Then we'll start with the introduction to always on. Availability groups and benefits. We'll see availability groups and benefits. Uh, yeah. So availability group benefits means here the always on availability group is there. Okay. So always on availability group is it. Yeah. So which is there like in our always on availability group means like here see I will configure mirroring only this is, but we are creating one group. In that group we'll add the databases here in availability group. Benefits we'll see what are the prerequisites are there to configure always on. Then configuring always on we'll see practically how we are configuring always on. Then monitoring some extra features. We'll see some FAQs and scenarios. FAQs and scenarios. Right. So that is like yeah, those are say like yeah various feature yeah options here like feature yeah topics we are going to see here. Check here. SQL Server 2012 supports new feature called always on. It is an extension of mirroring. Yeah, so it is an extension of a DB mirroring. So that's remember mirroring with additional features is what always on. To overcome the following mirroring limitations, Microsoft has introduced here always on. Check here one-to-one feature. Right, in mirroring, we have discussed already all these limitations. No direct reading from mirror. Database snapshot is required. Once again, snapshot is not dynamic, right? Changes made are not visible. So no group level monitoring and failover, no VNN, there is no virtual network name. That's why, but like these are the some limitations we have discussed in case of mirroring. Now, sir, always on supports here both HA and DR features. The HA means what? High availability features which are used to minimize the downtime. Whereas like DR is there's a disaster recovery. DR features are the disaster recovery features are the basically which are used for avoiding what data loss scenarios. DR feature is there to avoid what data loss. So why? Because we have seen in case of synchronous mirroring, there is no data loss scenario here in always on. In case of what synchronous mirroring. Okay, right, right. So that's like in case of mirroring. So limitations and how we are going to overcome uh, with always on. Yes, check it like always on is availability group. Always on availability group is a group of databases that can fail over from your primary server to secondary. Okay. So check it like what we are doing. We are creating one availability group actually. So in that availability group, what I am doing, will add the databases on which we need to implement mirroring or always on. Like directly we can right click on group, this group names here, which we are adding databases into the group. This group will act as a instance name to the application. Means what? I will create a availability group actually. In that we have to add the databases. Okay, so that availability group will act as a, like a instance name to the applications or users. Instance name availability group. Right. Here's the same thing. Similar to mirroring, we have automatic failure is there as well as what manual failure is there. So other than being a HA and DR solution, it can also be used to load balance read workloads. Okay, why? Because like we can allow reading directly from which database? Mirror database here. Means here replica terminology is there, replica actually. Okay, replica is there. This is like we have replicas are there here, like yeah, read only. We can allow reading directly from replicas, right? Okay, there is no need to take what like no need to create the snapshot. Direct reading is there for secondary replica. We can schedule backups and consistency checks there in secondary replica. Backups and consistency checks we can schedule actually. Means what? We can schedule backup also in which replica? Secondary replica. As well as tomorrow, like if secondary replica is not working, backups will work in primary replica. Means what? To avoid load on primary replica, even we can schedule here backups in secondary replica. Okay. Okay, and consistency checks are nothing but remember health of database or database health. Remember, we can check directly in what secondary replica also. We have dbcc check db command is there. By using that command, we can check the health of database directly in secondary replica. Okay, right. Other than being HA and DR solution, it can also be used to load balance read replicas already we have seen. Okay, yeah. So we can schedule backups and consistency checks in what secondary replica. Yeah. So check it always on advantages are there. Okay. First advantage we have seen one to many feature. Mirroring is what? One to one, but always on is one to many feature. Yeah, in 2012 we can have 4 replicas, up to 4. In 2014 we can have 8 replicas. 2019 we can have here 9 replicas. In the same way, say direct reading is there from secondary replicas. No need to create the database snapshot. Direct reading is there from secondary replica. No need to what? Create the snapshot. Right, right. So we'll see that how direct reading it is allowing. Then, sir, we can schedule backups in secondary replica to minimize load on primary. Right? To get better performance, to minimize load on primary, even we can schedule backups remember in secondary replicas. Okay, two types of backups are possible here, full and transaction log backups. We'll see again, full backups are possible. Full backup we can take with copy only option actually. And directly we can take the log backups. Right, in primary replica, all types of backups are possible. Only remember in secondary replica, two types of backups. In the same way, here we can group databases in availability replica, which is also called as availability group. So group level monitoring and failover options are there. VNN, virtual network name, we can configure the listener here. See, in part like we can group the primary and secondaries with a virtual name. Okay, and this virtual name is registered here in the domain controller. Applications are connecting here through this virtual name. Applications are connected through this virtual, okay, which is also called as listener. Listener, right, right. It supports your auto page repair options here. Means what if any pages are corrupted or damaged, it will repair automatically. Extra feature already, it was introduced first time in 2008 actually in mirroring auto page repair option. We can check health of database in secondary replica also. Here. Health of database we can check. We have seen consistency checks we can do in secondary replica. These are still like various benefits are there here with always on as compared with the mirroring. Clear, right? What are the limitations are there with mirroring? Those limitations we are going to overcome with what? Always on. Right. Check your always on architecture is it? Yeah, what is required to configure always on and how the always on is working. Check it. We have two regions are the region 1, region 2. This is Chennai region, this is Mumbai region, for example, with different locations. So here see, like we have two servers are there, primary and secondary. It's two machines are there. In this machines label, we have Windows operating system is there, Windows Server operating system. On top of Windows operating system, we have SQL Server software are there here in these two machines. Okay, so check it like these two machines must be in Windows failover clusters here. Two machines should be there in what? Failover cluster. Windows Server failover cluster. That's remember like for always on remember the machines, yeah, from where we are taking, from where we are taking SQL Server, those machines should have what? Should be there in Windows failover cluster. Okay, machines must and should have what? Failover clusters. Windows failover cluster. That's why, that's why remember platform is Windows cluster actually here. See. Okay, platform is Windows cluster means for both the mirror for both always on and SQL cluster. Just remember, first we have to configure Windows cluster. Then on top of Windows cluster, we are going to configure SQL cluster. Okay, right. So that's like yeah, two machines which are there in same region, for example, which are there in the Windows cluster. So in one machine, for one machine instance, I will make as primary replica. One machine instance as what secondary replica. Okay. So availability group will create a availability group one, maybe any name, and this availability group name will act as a instance name to the end users. Okay, it is a instance name to the end users. Okay, okay, okay. Then here's like region two is the in region two. Remember the database is maintained here. We can maintain one more replica also in asynchronous commit mode. So within the region, we can maintain in synchronous commit mode. Okay, within the regions here, we can maintain in what synchronous commit mode. Right, right. That's like how we can configure here always. Huh? Yeah, DR is there here. See, disaster recovery means what? Even this complete region collapse, something happen. Yeah, complete region collapse, something happen. No problem. So this region, from this region, yeah, we can bring this database online, which is there here. See, in this secondary region. Okay, right. One second. Right, right. So check it like yeah, minimum one secondary replica is required for us. We can have multiple secondary replicas also. Either see for how many secondaries we can maintain in yeah secondary replica. Yeah, it depends on the it depends on say like which version we are using. In 2012, we can have two in synchronous mode, remaining in asynchronous mode. Like this, like limit is there for synchronous mode actually, depends on version. Okay, yeah. Why we need secondary replica to not compulsory for a person. A secondary replica is not compulsory for us. Just the option is there, we can maintain actually multiple secondaries. First point we have to understand. Okay, so yeah, that's variable like we can one secondary is compulsory, but we can have multiple also. It's meaning. Like here, applications or users are connected through listener link. This is your availability group listener is there here. Okay, the availability group listeners here we can configure the listener actually, and this listener is yeah created here in the domain controller Windows server Active Directory server. So while connecting here, we are mentioning listener name slash group name. Okay. Now this listener, what it will do, it will automatically redirect request to the primary replica. Okay. If this primary replica is down, the listener will redirect request to the secondary replica, means which has become primary right now. Like this, like the listener will do this redirection. Okay. to which replica it should be redirected. That is done by the listener. Okay, right, right. So, okay, this is how the always on is working. That's why we have seen Windows failover cluster is required. In that cluster, the machine should be there. Either the machine may be in the same region or they may be there in different region machines here. Okay, right. Right. So we can have synchronous commit, synchronous mirroring, and asynchronous also may be there. We have seen once again like same endpoint also here also it is used here 5022. In always on also reverse same endpoint is used similar to mirroring. Okay, right. Yeah, some terms are there. Sir. Always on availability terms are there. Availability group is there. Availability group is nothing but remember a group of databases, yeah, which we can do failover at a time. Availability database, a database that belongs to availability group is what? Availability database. Primary database is it, the read-write copy of availability database. Okay. Secondary database is nothing but what? It is a read-only copy. Right. Secondary is what? Basically, it is a read-only copy of a database. Right. In the same way, availability replica is it? The instantiation of a availability group that is hosted by a specific instance of SQL Server is what? Availability replica. Nothing but it is a instance, actually, SQL Server instance. Primary replica we have seen. Secondary replica is a availability list group listener we can configure, right? So for redirecting purpose, listener will redirect the connection to a current primary replica automatically. Okay, right.